Hi, welcome back. Well, this is the second part of the growth, GDP and growth chapter. But in this part, I would like to give you some background information on the growth, basically, which has been basically one of the, as I have told also in the introduction part, most important aspects of economics in early days of the science. Early economists in 18th and 19th century usually wanted to find what is creating growth and what are the factors behind the basic growth process. While starting with 2000, well, 20th century actually, so 1900s, the interest of economics has shifted from especially macro sense from the uh, the growth or the GDP basically being from development being better to rather creating a stability, making it sure that what you have in your hand will remain stable. While in case of growth, basically the main idea has mostly become the market forces are able to create growth mostly, uh, but uh, but basically for the stability, those market forces might not be enough. So you might need some policies or some other some let's say um, some additional elements in addition to the markets to maintain that stability. So. However, well, also after the in 1900s to 20th century, there were some countries that were still interested in growth and improving your GDP level as fast as possible, and those countries mostly were the developing countries. So growth has become kind of subject of a subchapter in economics, which was the development. So most people who were working on growth were economists who were working on the development. And those countries also, well, maybe for the countries who are backward, there could be certain ways to accelerate that growth and basically make them advance faster, or do they need any assistance? Those things becomes the main concerns of the development field. But here, of course, we will see the early economists first, but then we will also see kind of the taste of the discussion of the growth and the development school, although we don't go into details of it. Especially because the complaints of my students in previous semester, uh, previous years actually, I decided to take the mathematical parts from the growth chapter, which left actually the most critical, maybe the models the models that were seen in this course before out of this course. But if anyone is interested, I can still send those people information on those models also. I mean, mathematical aspects of those models. In basic sense, you will see those models still. Anyway, so the main point of the growth is finding out the factors that are driving the long-run growth. What are the things that are create growth and also the accelerate growth. Basically, for Adam Smith, who was one of the earliest economists, and he was actually that was actually the core of his book, where he tried to explain why some nations become more wealthy than the other nations, and his explanation was basically, the wealth is mainly created because of the division of labor, not the richness of resources, because the fact that you have resources doesn't mean that you can necessarily process those resources and create wealth. Uh, Not agricultural wealth also. Basically, it is because workers in that country specialize more on the tasks they do, which increase their productivity, and as their productivity increases, the production level increases. Adam Smith was pretty much at the early stages of the industrial revolution, so which means he doesn't see the machinery and the impact of the machinery to the production. So he basically sees the reorganization of the production process by increasing the sizes of the corporations that are producing the commodities or products or goods. However, it doesn't see yet the way the big machines come to those corporations. So specialization is the thing that is creating growth. So what is driving specialization? Well, it goes all the way back to the primitive age, and he says, well, if people cannot trade, everyone in their own house should create everything they need. But when they trade, they might specialize on producing something, which might be, for example, furniture, and produce just furniture and sell that furniture to buy what you need. Well, that degree of that logic might also be applied, and that's the key part actually of his study. So this part is pretty much hypothetical because it assumes everyone in the nature was first living alone and then they come together, which never happens. Humans, as early as they got consciousness, they always had they were always living in large numbers, basically. I mean, not alone, at least in a tribe-like fashion. However, well, the later part is, in that sense, the more important part of his work, where he basically says that if a town now trade its goods with other people, now many people in town might come together, 100 people, for example, and they might produce furniture, for example, together as 100 people. But when they do that, now every single tasks in furniture production process might be done by one person. And that way, that person might be specialized in doing that task, and that task can be performed much faster. So this will increase productivity, and as same number of people produce more, the production level rises, which creates growth, according to him. Well, as of course the trade level expands, the growth will happen, the GDP will grow more and more and more, but the trade can only expand to the whole world. You cannot trade with Mars because there are not no people there, or Antarctica. So the trade can only expand to the places where people live, basically. And when trade expands to everywhere it can, the GDP will not grow anymore, basically. So that's the end of the large-scale growth process, according to Adam Smith. While for Ricardo saw, I mean, he lived in the early 19th century, this huge machinery coming to the factories, and they almost pile up. They become larger and larger and larger, basically. So he said this capital accumulation, I mean, the more machinery, the more infrastructure added to the production is making workers more productive since they have better tools, more advanced tools available for them. But he said, what makes this? He asks, what makes this possible? He said, at an instant in the history, the society was lucky enough to, well, support a particular class, particular group of people who are able to make those investments at this machinery to the production. Because according to him, workers are poor, and they are necessarily poor. They never get rich. If they got, if their income level increases, they make more children, so their income falls again, and they remain poor. So they what they have, they can only spend for them for survival. While the aristocrats, when they have money, they have a steady source of income coming from their farm estates, which they rent to the people. So they don't need to care for the income, so they just spend their money for the entertainment. But the capitalists, the businessmen, because they are competing with each other, they need continuously invest. They need continuously invest to production of their productivity of their workers. So when they increase their productivity, they can produce more for a cheaper price, and they outcompete their competitors. But they can only invest if they have money available for investment. So at a particular point in history, the profit levels of the businessman has been sufficiently high, according to Ricardo, and this has created this extraordinary increase in production level. But according to him, this extraordinary increase in production level will make the businessman make more investments. Some of them basically because workers are more productive. same workers can produce more, but these investments also inevitably will increase the value of the workers, because I mean, when they have more money, to some extent, part of that money is used toward the increase in the productivity. Part of it is used for the expanded production level. So in the end, productivity increase doesn't outpace the need for demand for labor, according to Ricardo. And as more workers are demanded, more money is given to the workers. Workers have more children, um, and basically, when they have more children, their population grows. So this doesn't benefit the workers. In the end, their wages potentially could go back down. But something has happened also at the same time. Uh, when population is larger, now, well, in order to provide food for those workers, it is necessary to open more inferior land, less fertile land to the use for agriculture, and as a result, the rent, the price that is paid to the aristocrats gets higher, which increases the food prices. So food prices rise up, the rents, the money paid to the aristocrats rise up, and as food prices rise up, this also increases the wages necessary for the survival of the workers, which will be the new wage, because they at least need enough money to survive. And in that, both of these things will squeeze the profits and squeeze the growth rate, according to Ricardo. While for Marx, the existing social system who also wrote on this issue, I mean, what creates this growth process and basically what is the end of it. He basically argues something like this. He thinks that, well, the systems evolve at a particular fashion in the world history. First, you have a system that evolves, but after a certain period, this evolution creates several problems in the system, and in that case, that system will basically not anymore solve its problems, which creates a crisis of that system, and that crisis led this system to turn into a new system. So capitalism, in that sense, was, according to Marx, new system with many different elements: profit motive, free labor, free trade, private property rights, which at certain social level are able to create high growth rate. But according to Marx, there would be a point where all of these elements will not anymore able to create growth, and basically at that point, the system will enter, the capitalist system will enter to its own crisis, and then it will basically turn into a new system which will continue to promote growth also. So this is Marx, how Marx, very in a basic sense, basically interprets or the why these extraordinary growth rates were created in the capitalist system, and basically how these extraordinary growth rates will come to an end at a certain point in time. Well, there is much detail of Marx, by the way, and if you are interested, I have a separate course on Marx in economics where I'm discussing the Marxian aspects of the Marxian views on economics. Here I'm just giving the taste of it, so it's not, in that sense, we don't have enough time to go into details of his analysis of the capitalist system, including the growth, which is kind of at the center of the Marxian economics. Also, I mean, the way a system progresses and the way that progress ends and then starts again is the key of the Marxian analysis. But anyway, well, in development economics or in modern macroeconomics, the main figure that is actually explaining the growth is Solow. He takes many elements from Ricardo, maybe also from Marx, but not. He probably didn't take from Marx directly, but similarities to the Marxian model. And certainly there is also a limit to growth in Solow's model. But anyway, we are getting close to the 15 minutes limit, so let's discuss Solow's model in the next parts, basically.